What's up? Good morning and welcome to a brand new segment that we're doing here on Chatted Up Sports under the umbrella of the Word with G segment. It's a segment that we used to do way back in the day when I was on the Word with G. What's up? I'm Greg Larnerd, by the way. And on ESPN Chattanooga, we did this segment and this interview for 3 seasons while I was doing the radio show on ESPN Chattanooga. And it was a weekly conversation we had with a very prominent figure in this Chattanooga community. And within this Chattanooga community, we all know that softball is incredibly prevalent. It's very, very big here in the Chattanooga area. And so I thought, you know what? What better way to service the softball community than having a conversation with the head coach of the UTC Mocs softball program? So we did that for 3 years. Then obviously last year was a little bit of a transition year. I started working for the UTC softball program, and this man was gracious enough to give me an opportunity to work with him and for him with this incredibly historic program that's had a lot of success over the years. It is his 24th year. He is the head coach of the UTC Mocs, my good friend, Mr. Frank Reed. Coach, good morning. What's going on? We're just two guys working for the same program now and talking about the same team. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing great. It's good to get back to doing this. I know, like you said, a lot of people enjoyed it when we've done it the last few years and had a lot of requests to do it again. So thanks for taking this on.
Yeah, no doubt. And I know you got that ring on your finger. I don't know if you can see, but I got my rings right over here. So last year, obviously a very successful year for our program. And I really, really enjoyed the opportunity to get a chance to coach for you and with you and kind of go through the ups and the downs of a season. And we're going to get into this season, and we had our first games this past weekend. But first, I wanted to just talk a little bit about our roster. And we have 8 seniors on this team. We've got 6 freshmen. So it's kind of a weird balance between really senior heavy and then obviously some younger players where you're hoping, I would assume that, hey, look, those 8 seniors will help take those 6 freshmen and some of the sophomores under their wings and kind of show them the way and the culture and things like that. So just talk about this roster that we've kind of established for this year going into 2025.
Well, you're right. I remember standing there after losing in the regionals to Florida State 3-2 and thinking, how would I recreate this team moving forward, knowing that I had a bunch of seniors and a lot of freshmen coming in. And I quickly realized that you're probably not going to create a team that's 44-12 and has played as well as they did, as close as they were. So, and each team takes on their own uniqueness, I guess, how they come together and develop. And so that's, I think, somewhat been a little bit of a struggle just to see that. Everybody trying to see their place, fit their place. And then when you got freshmen coming in, that maybe challenge an upperclassman for a position. You never know how that plays out. We still preach or talk about the team concept and what it means to be a part of a team, and no matter what your role is, from running a base, pinch hitting, or working in the bullpen, or having an everyday role out on the field, those things all have to come together to be able to make a successful program. And I've seen a lot of movement in that direction from fall. I was a little concerned going into spring how that was going to take place. And you actually, I think, sometimes have to actually get there and do it to be able to see where you need to tweak it a little bit. And even the players, get there, do it, and feel how their role is going to play out, and then so they can adapt to what we're going to ask of them. So it's an unusual balance, like you said, but it's not something that I don't think we can't make work.
Yeah, and I feel like we have done a pretty good job of making it work. We lost 3 players last year from last year's team, but they were very impactful players. You talk about Kaylee Phillips, who was a cornerstone for us at third base and in a middle of the order power hitter, a lot of grit, a lot of toughness, a lot of work ethic. Then Kendall Forsyth, who was a player who early on in her career wasn't even, dressing a lot of the times, and she wasn't a prominent player, and she worked and worked and worked and worked, and then finally got an opportunity last year, and she really took advantage of it. And then Addie Keelan in right field, who was just a cornerstone out there, a great arm, good defender, really good hitter, things like that. So talk a little bit about, you mentioned sort of the struggles and some of the transition from the fall to where we are now in the spring. But how have you felt about how we've been able to sort of replace some of those pieces that we lost from last year?
Well, realistically, I'm not sure we replaced those. 30, right at 30 home runs between those 3. And you talked about Kendall. being more of a role type player up until her senior year, and then got into our DP role, on a regular basis. And then when we had Aislinn Sellers go down, she moved over to first, and I always wondered how that would transition, and she did a great job there. I mean, no reason to even take her back off. And then Ace came back, and she had to go back to that DP role, and I thought, well, how's that going to affect her mentally? And she never missed a beat. So that's the kind of I think concept or whatever we need to do with this year's team. And I think we're still trying to figure it out. I mean, we're still played one weekend, we lose a couple of close games at the end, which we probably shouldn't have. But you try to what your takeaway from that is, how do we use that as a to move forward? And I think we're going to be able to do that a little bit. I went into the weekend thinking we were going to struggle offensively. We scored 28 something runs. We hit 341 for the weekend, hit 7 home runs. Of course, 4 of those were from Aislinn Sellers, who was player of the week. I'm sorry. 3 in one game, so that never hurts. But yeah, and we did a lot of things offensively good. We did, and not to jinx ourselves, but that's a step in the right direction. Yeah, knock on wood.
Knock on wood, yeah.
A step in the right direction, and other kids stepped up, got key hits. We played a lot of people, pitched everybody on our staff, just to sort of figure out where we're going with it. And some were obviously more successful. And Paisha had a one hitter our first game out, and which was a great introduction to her for the new year. And of course, we expect she was picked preseason pitcher of the year, and we expect a lot out of her. But all of our staff, Taylor had a great year last year until she got injured, and Alyssa and Riley have been mainstays for us. I've watched both of them grow, and hopefully, we're going to be able to call on them in crucial situations. It's just making the right calls. But it's just little things like that, and seeing some kids come off the bench and play, get to play some playing time they probably didn't expect, and see them produce. Get some hits, key hits, and things like that. So I see it come together. We need to round it out and make sure that we're not, getting tied and losing a game in the fourth, in the seventh inning, up 4-4. That's just something we can't do. Maybe you can contribute to nerves. I'm not sure what you contribute to, but we're going to use it hopefully as a strong learning experience.
Yeah, no, definitely. And look, I was as bamboozled as you were about the hitting and coming out hitting 341 the way that we did this weekend was awesome. I was excited about our hitters. I felt really good going into this weekend, and they really proved to be, as good as we were hoping they would be. And you mentioned Aislinn Sellers going out there and having 3 home runs in a game, and unfortunately, it's one that we lost 14-10. But those things are going to happen sometimes. And just talk, I guess, a little bit about the consistency that Aislinn has shown early in the year. Presley Williamson gave her an opportunity as a senior to jump in there at the DP, and she took advantage of that opportunity. And then you have a young player like Mia Leone who jumped in and had some really good at-bats, especially in that second game on Saturday against Stetson.
Yeah, I told the umpire at the game that Ace was hitting home runs, I said, she's a biomedical engineer. Presley's a nuclear engineer. They hardly ever get to come to practice. So we worried about those kids.
Yeah.
We were whether they're offensively going to be ready. And umpire laughed. He looked at me and said, "What does that say about your practices?" I'm thinking, yeah, whatever, But those kids come in on their own. They have to, to get the extra swings and stuff. And you don't know if they're going to be ready. So hopefully they can take that, moving forward. But yeah, I mean, what can you say? Presley had one of our 7, I think, home runs.
Yes, she did.
And so we need leadership from those kids, not just on the field. I think off the field as well. If I could put a pencil to something that it wouldn't be necessarily a negative, but because we've got great kids, we've got great seniors, I would like to see a little bit more step up leadership from them. Just, hey, I've got the ball. We're going to do it. Let's go. We got to do this. Let's get this done. Just more than just saying that we're going to be putting on this uniform or that uniform or whatever. And I think they're all capable of doing that. I think because there's so many of them, they're all looking over the shoulder, waiting for one to just sort of step up and do it. And they can do it as a group. I mean, they can do it as a group. I've told them we've had teams in the past where we've had more underclassmen, like freshmen, than we had seniors. And I said, if we took a vote on something today, they could outvote you. So, this is their show. This is their last go around, and we want that to be successful. At the same time, we want them to understand that as much as it's everybody's team, it's their team. It's their team because this is a thing they're going to remember going out the door. I've had fortunately lucky enough to have 24 teams with seniors on it, and each one reacts differently, and we can't go back and do the 3 senior thing or 4 senior thing we had last year because it was a small group. Had a couple of them step up. That's fine. So I think as they get more comfortable, and you think, well, why does a senior need to get comfortable? But I just think that leadership role sometimes, not just in our team, but I think just across the board with young people. Not everybody. They're not sometimes not willing to step up and call somebody out, saying we need this from you. It's not in a negative way. We need you to step up. We need you to do this. We need you to do that. I'm a senior. This is my year. Let's do it. And I think one of the things I've grown to know as coaching, every team's different. In 24 years, these young ladies are a lot different than that first year's team. And as much as I would like to incorporate some of the first year traits into this year 24, I realize that I'm not going to be able to do that. So I think how we keep encouraging those kids, the seniors, and they're not kids or young ladies, but how we keep encouraging them to step up, be a leader. Don't be afraid to call somebody out. Don't be afraid to tell somebody, hey, we're not whining here in the dugout. That time's over. We got to get out there and win. Step up when you get an opportunity, and understand too that those people below them, you can't do it without everybody. So some of those are going to step up and be key players, and if they don't step up as well, so it's a mutual thing. It's a trust. If you're working for somebody and you have a boss and you love him and he supports you, you're going to do the best to make him look good. And I'm hoping our freshmen are doing the best they can to make our seniors look good, make UTC, make Chattanooga across their chest look good. So I think that's the direction that we could definitely improve in a little bit. Not that we're bad, but I think that's going to be the thing that's going to take us across the top in replacing the 3 or 4 kids that we had last year with such strong leaders.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that we've talked a lot about with the girls as well, of somebody needing to step up, be that leader, vocally and on the field. And somebody who has been there for a long time and very well is our shortstop, Kaylee Snell. And I know she had, the tough error at the end of that game, and she had one throw that willy-nilly just kind of went, awry when she was looking at third when there was the bases loaded, and then she turned and tried to throw to first, and the ball got away from Aislinn. But she's been one of those players that just seems like nothing seems to phase her. She doesn't get too high, doesn't get too low, and I know you have faith in her especially after that tough error at the end of the game there. But talk about her and her leadership, and she had a really strong weekend in terms of hitting, and she's kind of the engine that makes us go at the top of that lineup as well.
She is, and sometimes, and I've told her this, I think she's sometimes a little too nice, and of course she was hard on herself after the error that she made in that last game for sure. So I would only want her to be as hard on the players that are sitting behind her, and I think that's the way. But I think one of the things good happens, anything good can happen from that kind of error. People understand that Kaylee's human just like they are. They're going to make mistakes. How she rebounds now is going to be instrumental in them watching and seeing and saying, hey, she made an error. She's a senior. She's going to step back up. She's going to have a key hit. She's going to run still a base. She's going to make a great play. And she will, no doubt. And that's the leadership that she's going to project. But then I need her to say, hey, I made an error. I've done this. I've been where you are. You got to step up. I had good leaders above me when I was a freshman. I'm going to be that person for you now. And if you don't like that, then, maybe we should find a place on the end of the bench. But, that's a tough talk that you have to have. But that's what I think this generation of young people, not just in softball, throughout the world, we got kids that are going to go out in the work world. These seniors are going to go out in the work world very soon. And they're going to be freshmen again. and how they're going to have work for people that they love. They're going to work. Some are going to work for people that they don't like so much. But at the same time, they've got to understand that they got to have faith in those people that are leading them and get in there and do everything that they need to do to advance themselves and then prove their worth. And then they'll find a spot on the field in the work world and not be off the end of the beach.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. And you mentioned earlier that the girls are so much different, now than they were back when you started coaching at UTC. How are you different from when you started coaching at UTC now?
I think the big change for me is I'm not as focused. I am focused, but not dwelling so much on the wins and the losses, but how we treat the game, how we maintain a love and a respect for the game, and then not only that, the most important thing is love and respect for the people that you work around, the young ladies that you work around. Uh, as a Christian, I like to think that it's more than just softball. I don't think God cares who wins on what side of the field. I think He give you ability to play and how you use that ability to be able to share that with someone else. I think is important, and I think that's one of the really key things that changed last year's team when we had the death of Charlie Blackman and Blackburn, but I'm sorry, Charlie Blackburn, but that impacted our team. 14-year-old, one of our former AD's daughters, and I think that really impacted our team and them understanding that hey, life's not guaranteed, and what happens today no guarantee for tomorrow, and we had some strong Christian kids on our team that really projected that image, and I think they started to understand that a little bit. And I think those things are important in today's world, especially. And I've always felt that way, even back in year one. But I don't think it was an emphasis in my life to try to project that. I was okay with maybe not saying things at a certain time. I could have probably emphasized something would have maybe helped change a life. But that's the biggest thing, understanding that kids have moved in a different direction, and maybe there's people that say, well, you're just old school, you just don't understand. But I look back on some of the old school stuff, and there really wasn't anything wrong with what we were doing. Yeah. I mean, we maybe a little bit more down to earth and understanding how important life is. And I think that's the big thing that I've changed. I understand there's going to be changes from generation to generation. I'm coaching kids now that, I coached some of their moms back in the day, so it's come a long way. And
yeah,
but you see a lot of coaches getting out too, and trying to navigate that world of who I am. I'm the same person. I just more projecting more of my thoughts, but who I am and how I project myself and put myself into the way college sports are being run today. I'm definitely against NIL and transfer portals and all those things. And I see kids just jumping from team to team and just not about the love of the game. I'm still old school. I want to put the Letterman jacket on. I want to wear it proudly around the school. I want to stand before they play our fight song.
Yeah.
I want to hear those things, and that pumps me up. I mean, play my fight song, our fight song, and that pumps me up to play. So if you want to get me up for a game, play our fight song before the game. I'm ready to go. I'm not sure our young generation understands that, especially when you're just the moving pieces are moving faster than we can control. And so the love of just wearing Chattanooga on your shirt or having the, wearing out and saying, yeah, I see you got yours on today. Having the C across your chest and saying, hey, I go to Chattanooga. It's a great school, and I love that. And I'm not sure the new generations understands that. So, one of the things I implemented last year is when the team walks out onto the field, we play the fight song, if you probably remember. And maybe I don't know if they like it. I don't really care. That part of the game is for me. I want to see them walk out on the field, Greg, stern face, and say, I'm ready to play. Here's the fight song. Let's get after it. And so, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But you have to adapt. I don't think – I still have the same, just outside of my Christian faith, I still have the beliefs that you got to get up every morning. You got to be a good person. You got to go to class. You got to do all the things that are important for yourself. And I think the extra piece is something that is, your personal life is your life of Christ is, I think, the final piece or the piece that is the most important. And uh, so, I'm not a preacher. You've been there. I don't preach to my kids, but if they come and ask, if they want to know if they're going through an issue and they need to talk about things, that's one thing that we definitely talk about. And a lot of kids have bought into it. We had one of our freshmen last year. I recall. I love to tell the story. She came to me and asked me if we could pray after a game, and I said, "There's one condition." And she said, "Well, what would be a condition to praying?" I said, "You got to pray if you lose. Those are hard prayers." Last year, we only lost 12 times, so we didn't have too many hard prayers to pray. This year, we lost a couple this week, and those are hard prayers to go out and pray after you just had a discussion on what you did wrong and why you did, you should have done better, and now let's pray. And like I said, I don't think in any sporting event, I don't think God cares who wins. I'm sure He doesn't. I'm sure He didn't pick the Eagles to win. And I'm sure He wanted those people who are on that team. Hopefully, there was Christian people on both sides that would use their influence to encourage them to embrace Christ in their life. And so, I think that's the important thing. I thought we come to really close last year, doing a really, really nice job of that. And I hated that it was at the hands of losing Charlie, but at the same time, she doesn't know how she impacted all those 20 plus kids that were on our team last year by her death. We got her a ring, by the way. Her family was really. I told them she's just a much important part of what we did with the program. So she got the ring, and I told David, as long as her dad, I said, as long as I'm involved with UTC or any sport we're playing, she's going to be on my team.
Yeah.
So Charlie's on my team again this year. I don't know if we've emphasized it as much, but we'll be talking about it a little bit more as we move forward in this season.
Yeah, we do. And just kind of going off the prayer thing, I think it's really important what you said there about, hey, we're praying either whether we win or we lose. And I think especially after a loss, it kind of in a tough discussion after the way we lost to Stetson on Sunday in a walk-off fashion when we were leading 4-0 most of that game. Obviously with Peja in the circle was hard to sort of take, but it gives us an opportunity to sort of come back together as a group and say, oh, look, let's put this loss behind us. We're going to move forward together as a unit, as a team under Christ, the whole thing. And it's just a really good thing. And it's one thing that I love about your program is that we do that. And that was something that was really special to me last year coming in and being a part of it. And I loved that aspect of it. It really helped, I think, pull us together in wins and in losses as well. It was very important. It was very impactful on me personally as well. Before we let you go, Coach, I wanted to just ask two things quickly. First of all, obviously we know how good Peja is. Alyssa and Riley kind of got to work through some things and get back to feeling more like themselves in the circle. And I'm sure they will, and they're going to work hard this week. But I wanted to touch on Taylor for a second because she was such an integral part of what we did early in the season last year. And then she had the injury, and then she tried to come back, wasn't quite herself, rehabbed, and got herself back to feeling good over the summer and into the fall. And now she came back and she looked pretty healthy to me. What did you think about Taylor getting back in the circle and having a nice game and getting that win against Binghamton on Friday?
She's going to be fine. We left her in the game. Hopefully the second game we left her and we got the win. She struggled just a little bit. She's, I think, stronger than she's ever been. I think that all the things that she was doing prior to is good. I think it's just the fact, maybe getting the rust off a little bit. Our fall wasn't that tough. And then, we ended up having some rain out, so we ended up playing more blue gold against our self-cap games. So really, since last year, she really has not been in a big game that, are games that are competitive with other schools. And so I think just getting that feel and getting back out onto the mound, I didn't feel like she's struggling with any particular pitch other than, what you normally run through. So and she came off. We talked. She came off, and she had a really good feeling about it. She talked about battling through, and I told her she's only going to get stronger. It becomes sort of a little bit of a mental game. When you're coming off an injury like that, a little bit, you feel something. You think, oh, is it coming back? Because it was sudden. She pitched like a 2 or 3 or 4 hitter. I don't remember exactly the numbers. And then on Sunday and then on Tuesday, when we come to practice, she was out. She couldn't throw, and so. It was. I don't think anybody understood the injury and how quickly it happened, and then all the rehab they didn't see all that rehab that she did to get back. There was even some question about how this would respond to see her be able to be as good as she was. I personally think strength wise, pitch wise, speed wise, better. Her breaking pitches are good. I think she's stronger than she was last year. I think you will see some great things with her. Peja and Alyssa. Alyssa came in. She pitched. She pitched. She has pretty good at bats. Pretty good, batters she faced. But one thing, and I was telling my wife, and a lot of people don't know, she was sick 2 days last week.
Yeah.
So 2 days she didn't make it to practice, and so she says, "I'm fine. I feel good. We might feel good, but you may have a little extra edge that you need, from being sick. I think she had the flu or something. I'm not sure. Something's going around our team right now. Anyway, she had that, and so got Presley sick today. So we'll see. She'll be fine. Riley's still trying to figure it out herself, and me and her trying to figure out a few things, how we attack with her. And I think she at some point she looked good. She just got to have that confidence herself. I think we got as good a staff as anybody around. We just got to be smart about how we use them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm wholly confident in our staff and everything that we have going on there. And like we talked about earlier, I was very pleasantly surprised the way the hitters came out. Other than that one game against Binghamton that we had on Saturday, I was really pleased the way the hitters came out and attacked and made adjustments. And I know we talked about on Sunday that game against Stetson, getting out to that 4-0 lead and then sort of sitting on it. You got to, work to be a little bit more aggressive and kind of, put your foot down a little bit more in those situations, especially with Peja in the circle. But early in the season, we went 1-4 last year to start the year. So 2-3 this year, a start. We've got the Chattanooga Challenge coming up this weekend. We will be facing the University of Northern Alabama and Lindenwood this weekend. Again, that's at home at Frost Stadium. Come on out. Make sure you support the team, the girls. We've got a really great group. Frost Stadium, if you haven't been, is a fantastic place to watch a softball game. It's the best stadium in our conference. So we'll see what happens. Friday should be awesome. We're not sure about Saturday, how the weather looks right now, but excited to get back out there and to be at home in front of our fans this weekend, Coach.
Yeah, that's always good. I just wish good weather for them. We know how the weather is going to play. I mean, we come off of 85, 86 degrees Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, we're out there putting on sunscreen and taking off as many clothes as we could legally take off. And, everybody's trying to stay cool. It was great weather to play. Great venue to play in. And so then we come back to Tennessee weather where it's on and off, on and off, on and off. So, yeah, even if we get rid of the rain, I think we're going to be fine with, Frost's turf. We got the extra field that's extra 2 fields that are turf. So if we can stop the rain, we can play. We can't play in the rain, but we can stop it. We can play. So Saturday, talking about a lot of rain, but hopefully we'll find some pieces in there. Maybe we can add some more games on Sunday, start a little earlier or whatever. But we will get as many as we can. And then the following weekend, we got the Frost. The Frost tournament's been around forever, named after Jim Frost. And we kept that when I came here. He used to have a 35-team college tournament there every year at Warner Park, and we kept that name. And it's not as big a tournament, but we usually have 5 or 6, 7 teams that come in, and it's always a fun time. And hopefully we have, in honor of him, hopefully we get good weather.
Yeah, I hope we do as well. Head coach of the UTC Mocs softball program. This is his 24th year, Mr. Frank Reed, my good friend and coworker now with the softball program. I appreciate you taking the time. I'm looking forward to doing this, and I know the fans are looking forward to having you back on the show, kind of get a little behind-the-scenes look at our softball team, some of the girls, and we're doing some fun stuff, and we're going to get after it this week in practice. So I appreciate you taking the time, and I will see you out at practice in a little while.
All right, thanks. Have a great day.